Hey YouTube, league turnover today. So it is Catch Cup, which means only Pokemon caught between December 1st and now are eligible to be used. They're both Little Cup and Great League are on. So Little Cup, I did a video this morning on it. And then Great League, we'll go over top teams here. And for the Great League, so when it comes to these Catch Cups, there's two things that you need to keep in mind. So my assumption is always in these Catch Cups, everything is going to be available unless it's a very specific legendary that you know has not been in raids, right? Because between research breakthrough, like the spit Pokemon stops, events, I feel like in general 90% of the Pokemon that you see in Open Great League anyways are going to be available in the Catch Cup. So that's the first thing. Just looking at the list of like, because you know normally I go over like top ranked Pokemon. So top ranked Pokemon are Great League Pokemon. The only thing that's in the top 10 that probably aren't around are Cresselia and Registeel. And again, to get a under 1500 CP Cresselia and a Registeel in the past 2.5 months, I don't think that's happened. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure won't see them. But for everything else, you will see. The second thing with the Catch Cup is you get a mix here. You get a mix of Pokemon that are built up this season because they're like newer players, or just like someone caught like a good IV that they built up. And then you get a mixture of people who who are older players who don't want to build up new Pokemon for a league that's just essentially Great League. And that's the thing. I've been playing GBL since season 1. There's a couple Pokemon that I've built up this season that I've actually caught and built this season, but those are just like either optimal IVs or Pokemon with like new movesets. But a lot of the meta Pokemon that you see in the Great League normally, Lickitung, Medicham, Sableye, all those Pokemon, Azumarill, like I have built all those Pokemon up in previous seasons, and if I had not hit Legend yet, maybe I would go through and build those up to try and hit Legend, but I've already hit Legend. So there's no real point of me building up any Pokemon for this cup. So that means I am just going to, for me, I'll do some battles. I haven't been playing much recently, but I'll do some battles for videos, but I probably won't be playing a lot. So you're going to get a mix, or just playing with whatever to get dust. So I think it's going to be like a mix match of like very meta Pokemon on very meta teams, with like some people just playing with whatever they have, with some people just like not playing at all, right? So it just depends on what you see. But I got teams here from the past week that I used. Again, I hit Legend this past week in Evolution Cup, but I made a really, really good run in Great League with a bunch of these teams. So I'm going to go over those teams here, and we'll just talk about them. Azumarill, Sableye, Venusaur, team number 1. This is a very straightforward team. Azumarill got the bubble buff. It's always one of the strongest Pokemon, XL Pokemon. Same thing, Sableye as a safe swap XL Pokemon. So 2 XL Pokemon, very, very strong. Generally good coverage overall between the two. And then why I kept emphasizing XL Pokemon is because you got a Shadow Venusaur. And Shadow Venusaur is crazy how hard it hits, but it is so glassy. So it's to the point where like resisted Frenzy Plants do like 40% on steals. Like it's such a hard hitting Pokemon. But you need to kind of cover that with 2 other Pokemon that can absorb some shield damage, some like damage, and save your shields. For Venusaur, weak to fire, Azumarill covers that. So it's a very balanced team with Sableye Safe Swap. Speaking about Sableye Safe Swap, you're going to get that's poorly cut there. Wishcast, Sableye, Charjabug. This is essentially, again, covering your weakness balance team. So Whiscash is only weak to grass. Double super effective grass takes you out, but generally other than that, you're kind of good against most other things. So Charjabug resists the grass, plus I think Charjabug is very, very, very strong in this meta. Charjabug is going to have problems with ground type Pokemon like Stunfisk and stuff like that, so Whiscash covers that, and a safe swap in Sableye. Lantern, Annihilate, Skarmory. This one was like I probably start with the back 2 Pokemon because both Skarmory and Annihilate both got buffs this season. Skarmory got a buff. Annihilate is new this season. So the buff Steel Wing is very, very, very strong for Skarmory. You're going to have problems, obviously. Yes, Steel Wing does super effective against like stuff like Carbink, but you're still generally going to have problems with other steals and some like rock type Pokemon that resist flying. So Annihilape comes in there, and then Lantern again is just pretty strong overall. Lantern weak to sort of ground and grass. Skarmory deals with that. Annihilape is a pretty good safe swap in this meta, quite honestly. Shadow Ball gives it really nice coverage. And then one of the things that resist two things that resist Shadow Ball are Dark and Normal typing, which you have the counter for that. So it's a nice overall Pokemon to use. Medi, Frostlass, Clodsire. Medi, it's so interesting. So Medi has now dropped to the 3rd best fighter, I think, in rankings, behind Annihilape and Poliwrath. And it's funny because if this was any other season, running Medi with Dynamic Punch would still have it at like number 1. But Dynamic Punch, Ice Punch actually like really limits you this season because you have like Annihilape as a ghost. You have like stuff like Jellicent running around. You have, I'd say again, you won't get the Crest in here, but like more Crest around because of all the fighters. So there's Dynamic Punch is a better move than Psychic, but it kind of limits Medi in this cup. Frostlass is one of those Pokemon that's like so dominant in metas where it is not a like limited metas. It's still, I think, decent in Open Great League. Maybe not as strong, but again, tons of fighters everywhere. Avalanche, Shadow Ball, just such strong moves. And Clodsire, you can use other. I use Clodsire as a. I think this team was in the thought process was a triple counter resisted team, right? Psychic on Medi, Ghost on Frostlass, and Poison on Clodsire. I think I wanted to resist the counters. I think I just saw at the time maybe a huge uptick in like Poliwrath was everywhere, and then Annihilape was everywhere, and both of them were everywhere. So I was just like, let's just have something that triple resist counter. So I think that was the thought process at the time behind it. I'm running Stone Edge on Clodsire. I just think that you need that Stone Edge for like Gligar and stuff. There's really no point to run and Skarmory. There's no point to run Earthquake and a Poison move that can just be double resisted by so many things. So that's why I've got the Stone Edge there. In terms of I call this an all safe team, which you look at the teams like, how is this all safe? Well, we all know that Lickitung is one of the best in this meta. Super bulky, top ranked Pokemon, bulky coverage, only weak to fighting, just super, super strong. Whiscash, I already kind of mentioned, only weak to grass. Dragonair is one of those. There's actually been despite there being so many fighters in this meta, there's actually been a decrease in fairies, at least in all the ranges that I've been at. I have not seen a ton of fairies. So with limited fairies and limited ice, your two sort of biggest weaknesses are gone. And Dragonair is just one of those Pokemon that is just generally good in neutral situations. So to have all that neutral situation across the board, the Dragon Breath damage does a ton, pretty spammy charge moves, make it overall a pretty strong Pokemon to run. This one was a little off the normal team building for me. I went double like the Quagsire Clodsire combo here, which could potentially be risky. Like you offset some of your weaknesses, like Quagsire weak to grass, Clodsire with the poison neutralizes that, Clodsire weak to water, Quagsire neutralizes the water weakness with their waters. So it kind of neutralizes those, and then Skarmory is a flyer to deal with, like, I think just first grass in general. But Quagsire on the lead I found was like very, very, very strong because it just seemed like almost every single matchup I could stay in. Unless it's like a Venusaur or something, or Trevenant, like, doesn't matter. You can just kind of stay in with most things. The last one, ignore the Phalanx. I was just having fun with Phalanx. Use whatever other counter user you want that's not Phalanx. But Jellicent A9. I mentioned that like charm users are gone. A9 is still fits the bill as a strong one, and then Jellicent as the half ghost, half water. I think Jellicent, half ghost, half water is like very, very, very strong in this meta because you have all the Mud Boys and Poliwrath with Scald that you resist that, and then you have the Ghost to resist the counter users, and you have Ghost for like Annihilape. They have Shadow Ball too, but at least you resist their counter. So those are some ideas. Again, I don't know what you're going to see. I think you're probably still, most of you will probably just see some sort of like meta, and then you'll probably get some one-offs with like people just using whatever to get the job done. Anyways, that's it. 2 weeks left in this terrible season, so I'm so happy about that. So good luck on the final grind if you're trying to hit legend, and I will see you guys in the next one.